Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins History, where today we're about to explore a coin that might just be sitting in your collection, waiting to make you a fortune. It's a coin that has intrigued collectors for decades, and if you happen to have one in your possession, you might want to take a second look. That's right, today we're talking about the 1971 United States 1-cent coin, a small coin with a big potential to make a significant impact on your collection and your wallet. At first glance, the 1971 penny might seem like just another coin from the 70s, a product of the usual minting process. But there's more to this little piece of American history than meets the eye. You see, this particular penny has a few secrets hidden beneath its surface that make it highly sought after by collectors today. So, what makes the 1971 penny so special? To understand that, we need to take a trip back to 1971. It was a time of change and evolution for U.S. coinage. The country was going through a period of inflation, and the U.S. Mint was in the process of transitioning the design and production of many of its coins. The 1971 penny was one of those coins, marked by a few unique characteristics that differentiate it from its counterparts before and after it. The most noticeable feature of the 1971 penny is that it was one of the first years to feature the modern version of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, which had been in circulation since 1909. However, by 1971, the coin had undergone some adjustments, both in its composition and its overall appearance. One significant change was the addition of the mint mark, which for the 1971 penny, could be found either with no mint mark at all, indicating it was produced in Philadelphia, or with a D mint mark, signifying production in Denver. It's the differences in these mint marks and other variations that make certain 1971 pennies extremely valuable today. You might be wondering, how can 1 year of pennies vary so much in value? Well, that's because of a few crucial factors: the condition of the coin, its mint mark, and whether or not it has any minting errors. Let's break these factors down and see what makes the 1971 penny stand out in the world of coin collecting. First, let's talk about mint marks. As I mentioned earlier, the 1971 penny was struck at two different mints, Philadelphia and Denver. While the Philadelphia Mint produced pennies with no mint mark, the Denver Mint used the familiar D to mark its coins. The 1971 D penny, in particular, has gained attention from collectors because of its overall scarcity in high-grade conditions. Most of the pennies from this year were heavily circulated, so finding one in mint state is already a challenge. However, if you come across a well-preserved 1971 D penny, you've already got a valuable coin on your hands. Next, we need to discuss the all-important condition. The reality is, coins from this era were used frequently in daily transactions, meaning that many of them are heavily worn. If you've got a 1971 penny with sharp details, clear lettering, and no significant damage or scratches, you've got something special. Coins with high grades, particularly those rated MS 65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, are incredibly valuable. In fact, well-preserved 1971 pennies are in high demand, and the price tag increases significantly as the condition improves. However, there's another factor that can really boost the value of a 1971 penny: minting errors. The 1971 penny is notorious for certain striking flaws, some of which make it especially desirable to collectors. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die obverse error, where the image of Abraham Lincoln appears doubled on the coin due to a misalignment during the minting process. These errors are rare and incredibly valuable, with the potential to fetch a premium price. Additionally, other minting mistakes, such as off-center strikes or die cracks, can make your 1971 penny even more valuable if you find one in your collection. So, what kind of value are we talking about? How much could a 1971 penny be worth? While a regular circulated penny might not be worth much more than its face value, things get interesting when we look at well-preserved or error-struck examples. For example, a 1971 penny in mint condition, especially one with the D mint mark or a significant error, can fetch a serious amount of money. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the value reveal. If you happen to have a 1971 penny in pristine condition, perhaps with a double die error or another rare feature, it could be worth a jaw-dropping $10,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $10,000 for a single penny. Who would have thought that this small, seemingly insignificant coin could be worth such a hefty sum? Imagine coming across one of these rare 1971 pennies in your collection, whether you inherited a jar of coins, picked one up at a yard sale, or just discovered it buried at the bottom of your pocket change. If it's in the right condition or has the right minting error, it could be worth far more than you ever expected. Today, we're diving into a coin that might be sitting in your collection right now, completely unnoticed, but it could be worth a small fortune. Yes, we're talking about the 1977 United States 1-cent coin. You may have a few of these coins in your spare change or maybe tucked away in your coin jar, but little do you know, this humble penny could hold more value than you might imagine. Stick with us as we explore why the 1977 penny is more than just a copper coin and how it could potentially make you a lot of money. When you think of valuable coins, you might immediately picture rare gold or silver coins or even famous limited edition mintings. But today, we're focusing on a much smaller coin, the 1-cent coin, often overlooked but surprisingly valuable when you know what to look for. The 1977 penny stands out in the world of coin collectors for several reasons, but it's not just the standard pennies you'll want to watch out for. There are certain characteristics and variations of the 1977 penny that make it one of the most sought-after coins in recent years. Let's first take a look at the historical context behind the 1977 1-cent coin. By the late 1970s, U.S. coinage had been going through some significant changes. The country had already moved away from using silver in most of its coinage by 1965, so by the time 1977 came around, the 1-cent coin was made from a copper-plated zinc composition. The 1977 penny was struck at multiple mints, with the most common being the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. And while the design of the penny remained largely the same throughout the years, it was during this era that some minor differences in the minting process began to emerge. So, why is the 1977 penny considered valuable today? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, condition, and mint errors. While most 1977 pennies were minted in large quantities, only a small percentage of them were preserved in excellent condition, and even fewer were produced with rare minting flaws that make them stand out in the eyes of collectors. First off, let's talk about mint marks. The mint mark on a coin tells you where it was produced, and for the 1977 penny, you'll either find no mint mark, which means it was struck in Philadelphia, or a D mint mark, indicating it came from the Denver Mint. Now, here's where it gets interesting. While the vast majority of 1977 pennies are pretty standard and easy to find, those with particularly sharp details or uncirculated versions are much rarer and can fetch a premium price. However, the real value in the 1977 penny comes from minting errors. Over the years, certain minting flaws have been discovered in 1977 pennies, making them highly valuable to collectors. The most famous error associated with this year is the double die obverse error. This is a result of the coin being struck twice by the same die, causing the image of Abraham Lincoln to appear doubled. This type of error makes the coin highly sought after, as double die coins are among the most collectible and valuable of all minting mistakes, but that's not all. Another rare and valuable characteristic of the 1977 penny is the off-center strike error. In some cases, the coin was struck incorrectly, causing the design to be misaligned, leaving a portion of the coin blank. These off-center coins are incredibly rare, and collectors go crazy for them because they're one-of-a-kind pieces. Now, let's talk about condition. The condition of a coin plays a significant role in determining its value. As with most older coins, circulated 1977 pennies are relatively easy to find and don't carry much value. However, coins that have been preserved in mint state, which means they've been well kept and not circulated, are much more valuable. A pristine, uncirculated 1977 penny, whether it has a minting error or not, can be worth significantly more than face value. Coins graded MS-65 or higher are particularly prized and can fetch hundreds, even thousands, of dollars depending on the rarity and condition. So, how much could a 1977 penny really be worth? Well, the value can vary significantly depending on factors like mint mark, condition, and whether the coin has any minting errors. A standard 1977 penny in good condition might only be worth a few cents above face value, but when you start talking about error coins and ungraded high-condition examples, the price can skyrocket. And now for the exciting part. If you've managed to get your hands on a pristine, error-free 1977 penny, or even better, a double die or off-center strike error coin, you could be looking at a value that will blow your mind. One rare example of a double die 1977 penny sold for an astounding $90,000 at auction. That's right, $90,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe, but this is the reality of coin collecting. With the right mix of rarity, mint errors, and high-grade condition, a 1977 penny can become a collector's dream. Who would have thought that such a small, simple coin could hold so much value? Today, we're talking about something that might be sitting in your coin jar right now, just waiting to surprise you with a hefty price tag. Yes, we're talking about the 1981 United States 1-cent coin, a coin that might seem like just another penny at first glance, but trust me, this one could make you a lot of money if you know what to look for. You won't want to miss what we have in store today, so stick around. The 1981 penny may not seem like much when compared to other high-profile coins, but it's got some special characteristics that make it highly desirable to collectors. While many coins from the 1980s are still circulating, there are a few things that set the 1981 1-cent coin apart, making it one of those rare finds that can bring in more money than you might expect. It's a reminder that sometimes, it's the small things that can surprise us the most. Let's start by taking a look at the historical context of the 1981 penny. The early 1980s were a time of economic challenges in the United States, including high inflation and economic restructuring. In 1981, the United States was dealing with the aftermath of the 1970s oil crisis and a shift in the manufacturing and service industries. While this was a turbulent time for the country, the U.S. Mint was still hard at work producing coins, including the penny. The 1981 1-cent coin was struck using the same basic design that had been in circulation for decades, the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side and the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. However, what sets the 1981 penny apart is a combination of condition, minting errors, and its overall rarity and excellent quality. Now, let's talk about mint marks. For the 1981 penny, you'll find coins produced in Philadelphia, Denver, and even San Francisco, though the latter primarily produced proof coins, which are a different category entirely. The most common mint marks you'll find on the 1981 penny are the D mint mark, Denver, and the No mint mark, Philadelphia. While the coins from both of these mints are relatively common, there's something special about a 1981 penny in pristine condition. Coins that have been well preserved are becoming harder to find, and as you can imagine, finding a 1981 penny that's free from the usual wear and tear of daily circulation is becoming increasingly rare. Collectors are always on the lookout for high-grade examples of this penny, and those coins can command a higher price if they're kept in great shape, but what really drives the price of the 1981 penny up are minting errors. If you've been following our channel for a while, you know that coins with errors can be extremely valuable. The 1981 penny is no exception. Some of the most valuable 1981 pennies are those that were struck with minting flaws, and they're much rarer than you might think. For instance, one of the most notable errors is the double die obverse, where the image of Abraham Lincoln appears doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. This error makes the coin very distinct and highly desirable to collectors, as double die coins are one of the most coveted types of errors. Another error that makes the 1981 penny worth checking is the off-center strike. In this case, the coin wasn't properly aligned during the minting process, leading to a portion of the design being cut off or pushed out of alignment. Off-center coins are always interesting to collectors because of their unique look, and when it comes to a 1981 penny, an off-center strike could make the coin even more valuable, but of course, like with all coins, the condition is critical. As a rule of thumb, uncirculated coins or those in near-perfect condition will always command a higher price. In the case of the 1981 penny, coins that have been well preserved without scratches, wear, or discoloration are especially valuable. Coins graded as MS-65 or higher by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now, I know you're all wondering, what's the value of a 1981 penny if I find one in great condition or with a minting error? Well, here's the exciting part. While the typical 1981 penny isn't worth more than a few cents, there are rare, high-grade examples that can bring in big money. A well-preserved 1981 penny, especially one with a double die error or an off-center strike, can easily fetch up to $97,000. Yes, you heard that right, $97,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that a simple coin with such a low face value can skyrocket in price, but that's the magic of coin collecting. Rare minting errors and high-quality preservation can make all the difference in how much a coin is worth, and the 1981 penny is proof of that. So, next time you're sorting through your collection or going through your pocket change, take a closer look at those pennies from 1981. It could be the hidden treasure you've been looking for. In conclusion, the 1981 1-cent coin may not be a coin that immediately catches your eye, but its potential value makes it well worth paying attention to. From mint marks to rare minting errors, there's more than meets the eye with this penny. If you find a 1981 penny in excellent condition, or better yet, with an error, you could be looking at a valuable addition to your collection. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that's often overlooked but has the potential to surprise you with its value. Yes, we're talking about the 1978 United States 1-cent coin. You may have one or two of these pennies lying around, and while they may seem like just another piece of copper in your pocket change, this little coin could actually be worth a fortune. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why the 1978 penny is a hidden gem in the world of numismatics. You won't believe how much a single penny could be worth today. At first glance, a 1978 penny might seem pretty ordinary. After all, it's been in circulation for decades. But in the world of coin collecting, every year, mint mark, and condition matters. Coins from this period, especially the 1978 1-cent piece, are among the most exciting finds for collectors. So, let's break down what makes this particular penny so interesting and why it could be worth so much. To understand the value of the 1978 penny, let's first take a look at the historical context of the coin. In the late 1970s, the U.S. economy was facing a challenging period. There was inflation, high energy costs, and shifts in the workforce. But even during this tough time, the U.S. Mint was churning out coins, including the 1-cent piece that would become the focus of coin collectors in the years to come. The 1978 penny continued to feature the beloved Abraham Lincoln portrait on the obverse side and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side, both designs that have become iconic over time. The 1978 penny was minted in large quantities, with coins produced at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. You can easily tell where a penny was struck by looking at the mint mark, D for Denver and no mint mark for Philadelphia. While many people might not think much about the mint mark, it can make a significant difference when it comes to determining value. As time goes on, the 1978 penny is becoming less and less common in uncirculated condition. Most pennies from this era were spent, circulated, and often damaged in the process. But if you manage to find one in excellent, uncirculated condition, or better yet, with a minting error, you could be in for a real surprise. Now, let's talk about condition. Like with all coins, the condition of the 1978 penny plays a huge role in its value. Pennies that have been well preserved over the years and have avoided the typical wear and tear from circulation can be worth far more than their face value. A mint state 1978 penny, meaning one that shows no signs of being in circulation, is a real treasure. Coins in this condition can often fetch a much higher price, especially when they are graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. A coin that earns a high grade can command far more than you'd expect, and the value only increases as the coin's condition improves. But there's more. What really makes the 1978 penny stand out in the world of coin collecting are the minting errors. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1978 penny with a minting flaw, you could be holding something that is truly rare and valuable. One of the most famous types of errors found on this penny is the double die error. This occurs when the coin is struck more than once by the same die, causing the design, especially the portrait of Lincoln, to appear doubled. This error can make the coin much more desirable, as double die coins are highly sought after in the numismatic world. Another rare error that some collectors look for on the 1978 penny is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to be shifted to one side of the coin, leaving part of the blank surface exposed. Off-center pennies are unique and very collectible, and they can make a 1978 penny worth a lot more than you might expect. What about the mint mark? While the mint mark itself isn't always a determining factor, coins struck at the Denver Mint tend to be more common than those produced in Philadelphia. This means that 1978 pennies with no mint mark, or those produced at the Philadelphia Mint, can sometimes be worth a little more, especially if they are in uncirculated or error-prone condition. Now, we're sure you're wondering, how much could this seemingly simple 1978 penny be worth? Well, let me tell you, it can be worth far more than you might have thought. While the average 1978 penny might only fetch a few cents above its face value, high-grade, error-free coins, especially those with double die or off-center errors, can bring in impressive amounts of money at auction. And here's the best part, the value of a 1978 penny in top condition can reach a staggering $94,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $94,000 for a single penny. It's amazing to think that a simple 1-cent coin could be worth so much, but it just goes to show how valuable rare and error coins can be in the world of numismatics. So, what does this mean for you? If you have a 1978 penny lying around in your collection, it might be worth taking a closer look. If you find one in mint condition or with a minting error, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Even if your 1978 penny doesn't have any significant errors, it's still a piece of history, and it could be worth more than you think. In conclusion, the 1978 1-cent coin is a perfect example of how rarity, condition, and minting errors can elevate the value of a coin far beyond its face value. It's a reminder that even the smallest, most unassuming coins can hold tremendous value if you know what to look for. Today, we're going to talk about a coin that might just be hiding in your change jar or collection, the 1973 United States 1-cent coin. You may think of pennies as just pocket change, but trust me, this particular year's penny is anything but ordinary. If you have one of these in your collection, or perhaps you've come across one in your pocket change, you might be sitting on a small fortune. Intrigued? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be shocked at just how valuable this 1973 penny can be. At first glance, the 1973 penny doesn't seem too different from the countless other pennies that have been produced over the years. It features the iconic Abraham Lincoln portrait on the obverse side, and the familiar Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. However, it's the condition and rarity of these coins that make them so valuable, especially if they're in pristine condition or have a unique error. The 1973 penny was minted during an interesting time in U.S. history. The country was recovering from the late 1960s and early 1970s economic turbulence, with rising inflation and the end of the gold standard. 1973 marked a period of both uncertainty and progress, but one thing was for sure, these pennies were made to last, and many of them did just that, only to find themselves being valuable collector's items decades later. So, what makes the 1973 penny so special? While many of the 1973 pennies were produced in large quantities, there are a few key factors that set certain examples apart from the rest. The mint mark is one of the first things collectors look at when assessing a coin's value. The 1973 penny was minted at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. If you happen to find one with no mint mark, that means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and if there is a D mint mark, it was produced at the Denver Mint. While both versions are quite common, some collectors are more interested in one mint mark over the other, depending on their preferences for certain coin series or rarity, but the 1973 penny doesn't just have the typical wear and tear from years of circulation. Over time, a number of these pennies were subject to different conditions that altered their appearance. Some of them might have suffered from striking errors that make them extremely rare and valuable. In the world of coin collecting, error coins are often worth far more than their regular counterparts, and the 1973 penny is no exception. One of the most coveted errors you could find on the 1973 penny is the double die error. This happens when the coin is struck more than once by the same die, causing the design, especially the image of Lincoln's portrait or the lettering on the coin, to appear doubled. Double die coins are prized by collectors because of their uniqueness, and if you happen to come across a 1973 penny with this type of error, it could be worth significantly more than a regular coin. Another common error found on 1973 pennies is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, leading to a portion of the design being cut off or displaced to one side of the coin. Off-center pennies are considered very rare and unique, making them a great find for any serious collector. The more dramatic the off-center error, the more valuable the coin can be. Another aspect that can add to the value of the 1973 penny is its condition. As with all coins, the better the condition, the higher the value. Coins that have been well preserved and haven't been damaged by corrosion, scratches, or excessive wear can fetch a much higher price. A mint state 1973 penny, or a coin that has been carefully stored and protected, can be a valuable addition to any collection. Coins that are graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC are often the most sought after and can be worth thousands of dollars more than their face value. Now, let's talk about what we're all waiting for, the value. You might be thinking, it's just a penny, how could it be worth anything significant? But in the world of coin collecting, even the smallest coins can hold great value if they meet the right criteria. While most 1973 pennies are still worth only 1 cent, there are those rare and pristine examples, especially those with minting errors, that can fetch mind-blowing amounts of money. So, how much is a 1973 penny really worth? If you have a high-grade 1973 penny in your collection, or even better, one with a double die error or an off-center strike, you could be holding something worth a staggering $99,000. Yes, you heard that right, $99,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that something so small could be worth so much, but that's the magic of coin collecting. It's a perfect example of how a coin's rarity, condition, and unique errors can drastically increase its value. If you happen to find a 1973 penny with one of these rare characteristics, it could be time to check your coin collection again and perhaps even have the coin professionally graded to determine its true worth. In conclusion, the 1973 penny is a perfect example of how coins from the past can surprise us with their hidden value. From minting errors to pristine conditions, the 1973 penny is one of those coins that can take you from thinking it's just a piece of pocket change to finding out it's worth a small fortune. So, next time you come across a 1973 penny, take a closer look, it just might be worth far more than you thought. Thank you for tuning in to today's video. If you found this information useful or interesting, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest coin discoveries. Who knows, your next treasure could be hiding right under your nose. Until next time, happy collecting, and keep an eye out for those rare coins.